ranked revamp, and the introduction of Medivh, who is of course available to be drafted in today's game. So very excited to see what goes down. The recent World Championships, Summer World Championships in Sweden were a lot of fun, and every time you have something like that, you see kind of the meta can shake up a little bit. Really, all of the heroes I think are viable in the right situation, which makes the game a lot more fun right now. We have both teams slowly getting in here, so we should be getting going pretty soon here. Got to make sure I get everyone on the right team. So Medivh is a pretty interesting hero. I think he probably has the highest skill floor of any of the heroes that we've seen. In solo action, he is pretty tough to do, but seen him do some pretty fun things in like coordinated. My team's kind of messed around with him a little bit in unranked draft, and we've done some fun things with him, but I'm really interested to see what the pros do with him once he is available. Because I think you're going to see them do some pretty good stuff. His teleport, his protection. So the other one I haven't seen in any of my Chair League games that I've casted or participated in is Chromie. She was kind of underwhelming on her release. They've done some buffs to her, and her win rate now is kind of over that threshold of 45%, kind of that respectable, and she's kind of slowly ticking up. I think it's a combination of the buffs. Also, people getting used to how to play her. I finally broke down and played her the other night, and I'm having a lot of fun with her. I think she's going to work her way into my regular rotation, because she's a blast, and if you land her skill shots, she just does a ton of damage. Of course, really squishy, and you really have to make sure you don't expose yourself with bad positioning to the enemy team. So we have both squads here, just waiting for one more from Pajamas or us, and then we'll be able to go. Today's map this week's map for all of Division 1 is Sky Temple. Sky Temple is the largest map in all of Heroes of the Storm in terms of just size. It's really big, and it can really, global heroes I think are pretty good on it. So we can see that on there. Of course, you get the drafts, or the shrines, and it will fire on your enemy force and cubes and eventually the core. By holding onto the point spawns shrine guardians that you have to fight off. One of my favorite maps. It's a lot of fun. I think it's one of the more balanced ones. The first two shrines are always the same, of course. On the first temple spawn, you'll have middle and top lanes, and the second one will always be bottom. After that, it's a little bit random. Hey, yeah, you know what? Hey, Swallow, my lone viewer right now in the chat. Yeah, I have seen Oddish on her stream play Chromie, and she's pretty crazy. Actually, watching her is what made me bust it out, because Oddish was having so much fun on it. But I haven't seen your guys' game where she did Chromie in the Chair League game, but that doesn't surprise me, because she's really good with her, and I'm having a lot of fun with her. So, and she was also on Haloran's podcast, Meta of the Storm, where she talked about Chromie. I'm looking forward to watching that later tonight. So that's good. Welcome to my lone viewership there, Swallow. Got one more we're still waiting on from Pajamas or Us. And they've got a few minutes, so we're in no big rush here. You guys just have to bear with me talking to myself. I'm very interested to see how Jova does the playoffs or postseason for each of the divisions here in Cheer League. He hasn't said how he's going to do it yet, but he said he is going to do it. So I think that's going to be exciting. Unfortunately, I think my squad is just going to miss. We've been very inconsistent this season. Hey, Raiden. Anytime, man. Yeah, we haven't done it in a little while. Anytime. Welcome to my little cast here. Without Oddish hosting, this is probably my biggest audience in a little while. Like I said, for those of you just joining us, which is Raiden, we're just waiting for one more from Pajamas or Us, and then we will be able to get going. Maybe we can do the draft in the meantime. So we did have the big rank revamp this past week. Changed from the 50 to 1 Hero League rank system to the bronze, silver, gold kind of tiered system. A lot of people, you talk to Reddit or whatever, have had apparently really poor experiences. I have actually had a really good experience, not with my record, which hasn't been stellar since the revamp, but all the games, with a couple exceptions, have been really close in my experience. I'm just losing a few more of them. And I've only had a little bit of salt, so that's good, but I think I'm in the minority. I think a lot of this is going to iron each other out, iron itself out. As the MMRs start to settle in a little bit after the soft reset and the system kind of normalizes, I think this first season 1 is going to be probably the craziest of the resets, because they're going to do that soft reset every season. Let's see. I am messaging the draft links to the various team captains right now, and we are still waiting for one more. We're having some hot technical difficulties. So while they try to iron that out, we are going to kill some time, and you guys get to listen to me ramble. So next week is the last week of Chair League's Season 2. And I think we're going to have some changes in store for next season. Jova, it sounds like nothing's set in stone, of course. It sounds like he's going to change the scheduling to, instead of 5 days a week, 3 days a week, and each team will only have to be available for 2 of the 3. I think that'll make scheduling a little easier and hopefully have less no-shows. My team's at, I think, 2 or 3 no-shows, which is frustrating. Nobody wants those no-shows. We all want to get out here and have some heroes. It looks like we might be getting ready to start the draft here, even without the 5th. Maybe. We are yep, we are going to do that. So let's go ahead and switch to that draft screen. I think both these teams are going to get going here. There we go. So Suicide Squad has readied up. Pajamas or Us will be readying up shortly, I imagine. Oh, hey, we do have our 5th. There's half and half. The support player for Pajamas or Us. So now we can officially get this show on the road. Welcome to the chat room there. J Money laughing my off. Welcome, welcome. Suicide Squad has the first pick, first ban. Of course, despite the quotey fingers nerf to Kael'thas, he's still pretty much banned out in all solo queue. You know, competitive, even amateur competitive, the meta is of course a little different than solo, because you can just pull off so many more things and be much more creative with a 5-man that practice together, that are on comms, and you can do things that you can't do in solo. Kael'thas banned. Like I said, you're just not seeing him get into any competitive games. Some of the pros were, but not in really any of the Chair League games that I'm seeing, and in very, very few Hero League games. He just does so much damage, and his Living Bomb really makes teams have to alter their approach to how they group up in team fighting. Suicide Squad has some fans here in the chat, so that's always good to see. Pajamas or Us is into their team pool, and they have second ban, and they have banned Illidan. So if this were a Hero League game, this would almost assured be Li Ming, and there she is. She does a ton of damage. She does lose her value, though, if you can't get her resets, so you really want to get resets with her. She gets her resets. She does a ton of damage. She's a little tricky to catch up to with her teleport. Fits in most comps, so you know, really solid contested damage dealing hero right now. 2 picks for Pajamas or Us. Sky Temple being the largest map on Heroes of the Storm. I would be surprised if we didn't see Falstad here. He's in a really good spot. There's Falstad, can move all over the map. And a lot of different options available here. Wave Clear is always good. Zool or Zagara, even though you're not seeing much of Zagara lately, she's still in a solid place in my humble opinion. And Sonya is always good. You see her a lot. Just she's a really nice off tank. Gives you really good damage out of the front line, as well as some durability if she can avoid getting locked up with crowd control. She also has self-sustain, so she can stay on those temples and do her thing with those, not worry too much about that. Suicide Squad now has 2 picks here. I haven't seen Suicide Squad play before. I am more familiar with Pajamas or Us because I've scrimmed them a little bit and we've played them a couple times. So Thrall is always really good. He could solo lane great. Rhaegar is still probably the best healer. I play Rhaegar a lot. I'm a support player, and the healing nerfs they did recently to him are noticeable. So I think he's still the best healer in the game, but not by quite as much as he was before. But Ancestral is one of the most impactful ultimates in the game, so he's still really good. 2 excellent selections by Suicide Squad, and with their comp right now, they're really not tipping their hand. It's kind of a very straightforward meta comp to where they can fit a couple different things into it, so you don't really know what they're going to go for. Pajamas or Us is their turn to ban. I would imagine they're going to ban a tank because that's really the only role Suicide Squad hasn't got yet. They could also do kind of a pet ban. I know my team, we have a couple of heroes we just don't really like to see sometimes. So there's the tank ban, Muradin. Muradin's kind of the standard, really good, really solid, fits into anything tank. He's shined very brightly at the World Summer Championships this last weekend. So there's the tank ban. Suicide Squad, I would guess, would ban a healer, maybe somebody they don't want to see. Brightwing for his mobility, Polymorph. A lot of teams ban Morales simply because you don't want to have to deal with her. She can be annoying. Tassadar is a good ban, Swallow, because Tassadar pairs just so well with Sonya. They really, really go really well together, and it makes Sonya very, very difficult to bring down. So Tassadar would also be an excellent ban. Anub would be a good ban as well, because Anub is probably the best tank counter to Li Ming with the spell shield at 1. I forget what the exact name of the talent is, but he can just like block all of Li Ming's skill shots. It doesn't bother him too much, and the Beetles block them as well. And Uther ban. That's a little surprising, but Uther Divine Shield can really help any melee assassin, so maybe they have something in mind there. 2 choices now for Pajamas or Us. I would expect to see their primary tank and maybe a damage dealer. They could save their healer for last if they wanted to, because Suicide Squad can always go double support, of course, but you know, not as likely. ETC is a good choice, yeah, because Falstad's the best counter to ETC with his Gust, and they of course have Falstad. Also, if they don't want to do Mosh Pit, he can go Stage Dive and really take advantage of Global on a really large map. And second pick here, it's going to be a range damage dealer or a support, I would guess. Unless, of course, they go for a double support, then you could see Tassadar in a second support. Brightwing still an option. If they went, you know, if they went Brightwing and Stage Dive on ETC, that they could be all over this map really, really quickly. So they could do some interesting things with that. 9 seconds. Pajamas or Us really, really getting deep into their time pool. They're going to have to pick here very soon. And Sylvanas. Sylvanas is always good. Her value is accentuated more on maps that have the map objectives that push the Battlefield of Eternity, Garden Terror, Dragon Knight, because then she can, you know, disable the defenses and really really push with it. Yeah, I mean, Tassadar is really good. A lot of teams are afraid to solo support with Tassadar, though. He can certainly be done, and this is the kind of comp that could do it, because Sonya has self-sustain and ETC has self-sustain, so it takes a little bit of the pressure off of Tassadar. A lot of teams are afraid to do it, though. Tychus picked up. We saw a lot of him in the Spring World Championship. He's really good with damaging those front lines, those heavy front lines, so he'll be a thorn in the side of Sonya and ETC. Suicide Squad has a lot of different choices here for their tanks. You know, there's a lot of different tanks that are viable. Dahaka would be a good choice because the map is so big. Johanna, of course, is always good, fits into any comp. She's so solid. Yep, there she is. So that's a good pick. Always. Johanna is just really, really solid. She's one of my most played favorite heroes. She's really good. I don't either, Swallow. I'm not going to tip my team's hand, but we prioritize TAS a lot of times. Especially with Sonya, they're so good, and Tassadar is just so good. Curious to see which way Pajamas Rust goes. Like I said, you don't see the solo support tasks as much. Teams are afraid to do it, I think. And Lieutenant Morales, that's going to be interesting. I will say Suicide Squad doesn't have a lot in the way of dive to get back there, unless Johanna, you know, goes Falling Sword or Sunder. So let's see how this goes. It's been a little while since I've seen Morales actually in Chair League, so this will be fun. Interesting drafts by both teams. Yeah, you're right, Swallow. When my brother and I play, you know, just kind of in you know, quick match or whatever, we would do Tassadar Butcher all the time and clean house just because they're so good together. But any really good melee assassin, and Tassadar is good. He's good with Greymane, you know, Butcher, Sonya, of course. As for who won this draft, I kind of like Pajamas or Us's draft just a tiny bit more, but we'll see. I think both teams have their strengths and their weaknesses. I mean, both teams have solid heroes. Nothing really stands out to me in looking at those two comps. We'll see how this goes. I haven't casted a Division 1 game before. Usually I tend to focus on casting the lower division games. I like to... I know as a player I always go back and watch the replays, and I really want to learn something from the casters. And so I just think I would be able to offer more to the lower division teams than I would to a Division 1 team. But even so, I know Pajamas Rust is good because we've played them. Suicide Squad has an excellent record. I think this is going to be a really good game. I'm pretty excited about it. So let's see how this rolls. On Pajamas Are Us, the red team, we have Phage Lambda on Sonya, Baka Soldier on ETC, Ice Shrimpy on Falstad, Crater on Sylvanas, and half and half on Lieutenant Morales. Blue team, Suicide Squad, is Dark Angel on Li Ming, Vitok on Thrall, Nightmare on Rhaegar, Tatsuya on Tychus, and Audubon on Johanna. Some nice mount synergy from Pajamas Are Us here. All of them sporting the epic elemental mounts. And with Sylvanas, they're going to, of course, rush a lane and try to pick off a tower. Common strategy you see in competitive anytime somebody has a Sylvanas is the same thing. On the other side, Suicide Squad has all 5 mid, so if Pajamas Are Us does this right, they'll get a tower out of it.
Go fight.
I would imagine you're going to see ETC go above them and be vision and stall, so if they get rotated on, he'll be able to buy his team some time for them to get out. And they're already coming down. Suicide Squad already coming down. ETC taking big damage, but they're going to get the tower probably, not quite. Very close. They decided not to stick around though, and got about 99% of the tower. Some smiley faces going down in the chat game, like the good sportsmanship there. So now teams are going to settle into their lanes. We have a little 3-on-3 skirmish here in the mid. The first altar spawn is always going to be mid and top. It's generally accepted that mid is a tiny, tiny bit more valuable than top. So if you get your choice, you prefer to get the mid temple. Sylvanas, a little far forward here, but with Sonya coming down, she'll be able to get away. So if you have a choice between mid and top, you try to get the mid one. But it's really not that big of a difference between the two. And of course, you really have to have the sight to contest the mid fort. We got something going down here. Li Ming poking Sylvanas down very low. So Pajamas Are Us is going to have 2 very low members, although so is Johanna. Pajamas Are Us still getting a soak in all 3 lanes. So Suicide Squad just getting back down the mid now. And there's the tiny, tiny soak advantage right now on Pajamas Are Us. And they're getting mid lane, and Falstad has top, so they, for a half a second, have both. But now realizing you're outnumbered by Suicide Squad and mid, Pajamas Are Us is going to back up. But nobody is on the top temple right now. I would imagine Pajamas Are Us is going to go take that one. They don't. There we go. So there we go. Looks like teams are going to split, and Sylvanas is being left to her own devices currently in the bottom lane. If she's able to get this fountain or do some damage, it's a huge advantage for the next shrine. Wisely, Thrall goes down there to make sure she just doesn't go crazy. So we currently have Suicide Squad. They are commanding the mid lane, with Pajamas Are Us commanding the top lane, and Sylvanas and Thrall duking it out in the bottom lane. Medic going way back, a little one-on-one with Tychus that he's certainly not going to win. Shrimpy on Falstad taking a lot of damage, but gets out okay. And their frontliners now withdrawing from the top lane. So it's split there. Pajamas Are Us is very, very slightly ahead in experience, and just a very tiny amount. Ideally, what you want to do now is both teams want to wait about a minute or so, and then they should be trying to get these top merc camps. It looks like we're going to have a pause for a disconnect. Somebody pause. There we go. So we do have a pause right now. Had a disconnect. So while we wait for ETC to get back in the game, we can take stock of where we're at. Talent-wise, Li Ming is going teleport at 1, and then the charged blast. You don't see too much charged blast going on, but not too much difference. I don't know Tychus, I'm not going to talk about him very much. Nothing I see really stands out in this build right here to me. Pretty typical stuff, although Falstad is going to go with the Q build as opposed to an auto attack build. I think generally that's the better build. I'm not quite sure what Li Ming is going with here. Maybe maybe a teleport build. That's why she wants the extra damage there. Curious to see how the rest of that builds out. Dark is always nicer when he's drunk. Okay, have a countdown here, and we shall be on the way. No? Are we going? Go, go. All right, now we're back in the action here. So as I was saying, about a minute or so after the first shrines are active, you want to go ahead and get the top mercs. That way they're ideally pushing up down the top lane right as those bottom altars spawn. And this would be something with the Falstad that Pajamas Rust could do a little bit better than Suicide Squad, because Falstad could, of course, stay up top longer, push the lane out a little bit, and just go ahead and fly down. Both teams doing a nice job with Soak. Suicide Squad is a tiny bit behind. They have missed a little bit of soaking because they've been rotating a little bit harder than Pajamas Rust has. Pajamas Rust is really focused on staying in lane. Sonya did just capture the bottom giant camps. The teams continue to posture over this top vision. And now you see Sonya in the minimap. She is going for the mercenaries as I suggested, and Falstad is going to help. So this is going to be an advantage to Pajamas or us if they get these camps right as the top altar spawn, which it looks like they will. ETC needs to be a little bit careful here. He's probably going to be okay, but you don't want to do anything silly. Suicide Squad has got their giants now, but you can see the damage Sylvanas has done to this wall compared to the others. So ideally, you really want to get this fountain before this bottom one, but they're not going to be able to do that. Okay, so they captured the mercenary camp and didn't, or they took it out but didn't cap it until right now. And this is what we're talking about. Falstad's going to stay up here. He's going to push this lane out, and then he's going to fly down. Li Ming will be late because she has to deal with Falstad. Really smart play here by Pajamas Rust. Sylvanas is just kind of waiting for her team, chilling out. Right now, there are actually 2 members of Suicide Squad top dealing with that push. Falstad, I imagine, will be here in just a minute. Pajamas Rust needs to be a little bit careful. There we go. And Thrall is probably in trouble. There goes Thrall. Suicide Squad has to back up with their members in the top lane dealing with that push. That's really the advantage of Falstad and not responding in kind with their mercs. So this is going to give Pajamas or Us a nice little advantage. They've got about a half a level lead here. If everything goes according to plan, they will get 10, barring something weird happening before Suicide Squad. And they're so confident they're going to get this temple, they're letting Sonya solo it, and they're rotating back to lanes to continue to get lane soaked. So really, now a full level lead for Pajamas or Us. They're in a nice early game control right now. Of course, it's still very early, but Pajamas or Us has just been a little bit cleaner, made a couple of little bit better decisions, and it got them to level 10 before Suicide Squad is at level 9, and they're going to try to boss it 6 minutes into the game. That's a really ballsy call. But with Falstad showing in the top and ETC acting as a buffer there, they are going to maybe get this, although Li Ming has sniffed it out. ETC, I think they got to give it up now. Oh, this is going to be very interesting to see how this goes down. Sonya is going crazy, but Falstad with the gust is going to make sure they secure it. Oh, and an excellent mosh pit from ETC. 2 members of Suicide Squad to go down. Johanna is also going to go down. It's 3 members and a boss. Pajamas or Us is definitely in control of this game. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ultimates selected by Pajamas or Us. We have Wrath of the Berserker for Sonya, Mosh Pit for ETC, Wailing Arrow for Sylvanas, Gust for Falstad, and Stim Drone for Medic. Shrimpy got cut out a little far forward there and was picked off, but they're going to get this middle fort, no doubt about it, while the rest of Suicide Squad has to go deal with the boss. So a very strong early game lead currently for Pajamas or Us. They've taken down 2 forts, or almost 2 forts. They need to get back out now. Oh, they may have stayed a little bit too long. All of Suicide Squad is here. Excellent Blessed Shield and a Sunder to split them up. The front line has to go the bottom way. A Gust to save almost everybody. Only ETC falls. That could have been much worse. Shrimpy is really solid on those Gusts. I know he frustrated us a number of times when we played him. So that was a really good Gust. He spawned just in the nick of time. Pajamas are still about a full level up, and now we have temple spawning top and bottom. 5 seconds till ETC is back. A little bit of posturing over the vision up here. Falstad, all by his lonesome, needs to be careful. And I'm curious how they're going to do this. Will Pajamas Russ invade, or will they be content to split? I would be content to split if I were Pajamas Russ. I would go... They should pick off this fort right here. And that's exactly what they're going to do, and then go to the bottom temple. Good decision to get the fort. Nicely done there. And are they up? So they're going to let Sonya solo the bottom temple, and the rest of the team is kind of scattered. They're just soaking experience. They're not contesting. So this is a... They're not grouped up. They're kind of scattered, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, I think, because I think they have a feel for where Suicide Squad is, and they're pushing in all three lanes, actually, while letting Sonya solo the bottom temple, and that's got them some of the level lead they lost back. Now they're a little over a level ahead again. So Pajamas are Us playing a really good game here. Really the only mistake on their end so far has been where Shrimpy overstepped a little bit and got picked off. Now we have 3 charging 2 in the top. I imagine Shrimpy's got his Gust off cooldown if he needs to use it, and he probably will. There it is, but he only got Rhaegar. That might be a problem. Falls there to Sundering to split off ETC. ETC is going to go down, and Shrimpy stayed a little too long. Shrimpy maybe go down too. Nice grenade by Medic. And, oh, half and half could be in trouble. Sylvanas and Sonya are flanking. Half and half did get very low, but an excellent wailing arrow by Sylvana and a good counter engage by Pajamas Are Us takes down 2 members of the Suicide Squad, and they are in hot pursuit now. Leeming is in the flank. She might be able to get a pick here. Oh, missed the Arcane Orb. That probably would have done in Morales, and now Leeming is forced to withdraw. So Suicide Squad did some good things there. But this counter engagement from Sylvanas and Sonya turned it around, and instead of a 1-for-0, turned it into a 2-for-1, once again in favor of Pajamas Are Us. So all of the level 1 fortifications, all of those defenses are currently down for Suicide Squad, while Pajamas Are Us has only lost their top fort. They're currently about a level and a half ahead, 6 kills to 3 in Pajamas Are Us' favor, so they're definitely in a good spot. They have control of the game right now. Medic got caught out a little bit, but his team is here to save them. A mosh pit's going to go down by ETC, and there's nobody there to interrupt it. There goes Rhaegar. ETC is very low, but he's probably not going to go down. Medic's a little far from the healing beam. There it is. There's the healing beam. But he gets picked off by Leeming anyway. An offensive gust from Falstad, though, takes out 3 more members of Suicide Squad. Sylvanas is not going to get out. So currently a 4-for-2 trade in favor of Pajamas Are Us. Tychus is probably going to get away. Pajamas Are Us probably wants to go get these temples right now. Oh, Sonya found him. Found Tychus. He doesn't quite get away. The drill laser goes down, and there's the team wipe, although Rhaegar is up now. Excellent pursuit by Pajamas Are Us, and Tychus wasn't able to quite be as slippery as he want. But he did buy his team a lot of time. Are they going to try to boss again? It looks like Medic and Sonya are going to solo the boss while Suicide Squad is spawning. Here comes Falstad to help out. We do have 2 temples that are spawned right now. Neither team seems to be going for them, and I think Suicide Squad knows what's going on. Boss currently below half health, and Suicide Squad is not going to be able to contest with only 3 members here. So they're going to get a boss, Pajamas Are Us will, and then they're going to go to the temples, which leaves a very difficult decision by Suicide Squad. Not only is it going to be a boss, it's going to be a boss and giants. And of course, if Sylvanas chooses to push with that, she can really make those things hurt even more. So Suicide Squad has a lot of really tough decisions to make here. A boss and giants pushing down the bottom lane, and they are going to choose to go get the boss, leaving both temples for Pajamas Are Us. Sonya will go solo the top one. All 4 members of the rest of Pajamas Are Us will go ahead and take this mid fort. This key probably won't go down from the boss, but these temples are going to do a lot of damage. Now almost 2 full levels in the lead, Pajamas Are Us. ETC trying to zone out right now and get his team as much time on the temple as he can. Suicide Squad is now rotating in force, but they got the full temple before bailing out. They might have been a little bit late on their retreat, but it looks like everybody's going to get away. ETC is posturing, but backing up. Pajamas Russ is not in a great position for a team fight here because they're kind of split up, but now they're kind of grouping together. Drill Laser from Tychus goes down. When you're the level difference, man, Sonya just does so much damage. She is just chunking Johanna and forces her to throw the Blessed Shield down. A Sunder for a disengage. They're having to use all of their ultimates defensively just to try to get away. And Phage Lamba is going crazy. And there's the offensive gust. Johanna is taking all the damage, but that's not who you want to focus your damage on. There's the Mosh Pit. 2 members go down, Johanna and Thrall. Good pursuit from Pajamas Russ there. They're now going to get the Bruisers. And the top temple is still not all the way taken. That was a mistake from Rhaegar. He should not have gone up there by himself. 3 of the 5 members of Suicide Squad are down. Pajamas Russ is going to take this keep. I don't think they'll be able to end it quite yet, but they will be able to take a lot of control over this map. They can still get the top temple. So we have 1 keep down from Suicide Squad. They're in a lot of trouble. Currently 3 levels down. Sonya is going on the Bruisers by herself. Nope, here comes her team. This is going to be interesting because Suicide Squad is probably going to stumble onto this. So we might have an engagement here. They do get the Bruisers, and now it's currently a 5-on-3. So Suicide Squad's going to clean up the mercs while Pajamas Russ goes and takes the top temple. Right now, Pajamas Russ really in complete control of this game. And they captured both of those temples in their entirety. Suicide Squad's in a really tough spot here. They want to fight before 20 if they're going to fight. And I don't think Pajamas Russ is going to let them. They're just going to keep controlling the map, getting merc camps, forcing them to make tough decisions. You can see Suicide Squad wants to get this engagement here before they get to 20. And here they come. And Pajamas Russ is wisely, they are not letting them get the engagement. They are going to wait for 20. This is really smart play by both teams. They both know what's going on. Pajamas Russ was even willing to concede those Bruisers rather than fight before 20. So both teams playing really heady, really smart, and those mercs are going to go down so fast with all 5 members here, basically. So Pajamas Russ probably rotating down to the Giants. You can see Medic here watching. And Pajamas Russ on the verge of 20 here. They're probably going to take a couple waves to get it. They're split up. Falstad's actually split soaking in the top lane to try to get them 20 faster. And if I'm a Suicide Squad here, when you see Falstad top, I push on this fort really hard. Because you're going to have a 5-on-4. It's really low. It'll help you close that experience gap, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. Yeah, they're going to pick up that fort. They know Falstad's in the top lane. They know they have a man advantage, and they also know that Pajamas Russ has shown they don't want to engage before 20 yet. So smart play by Suicide Squad to at least get the fort, and now they have to withdraw with Pajamas Russ right on the brink of 20. The teams are going to trade their Giants now, and this is not a good place for Suicide Squad. That temple is going to spawn right as the 20s come out. So let's see what Pajamas Russ picks for their Storm talents at 20. Ignore Pain for Sonya. Death Metal for ETC, one of my favorites. Bolt of the Storm for Sylvanas. Epic Mount for Falstad. And Storm Shield for Medic. So Suicide Squad, they really can't contest this. I think they're just going to try to take the mercs out. Well, there goes the drill. Maybe they're going to try to engage on it. This is going to be very, very interesting. I'm sure Pajamas Russ does not mind taking this fight right now. They just want to get it on their terms, so they pull back, they group up, and now they're probably going to re-engage once that drill runs its course. That would be my bet, my guess here. And here they go. You can, if he gusted to split these 3 off, the 2 down here would be in trouble. Now Suicide Squad is split off. A nice Sunder to try to group back up with his team, but Thrall is absolutely in trouble. Mosh Pit interrupted by Johanna, but about a little time to pick off the Thrall, who died very quickly. Ancestral popped a little bit early on Johanna. Tychus goes down. There's the gust from Shrimpy. He's done a couple of those offensive gusts today to keep them from getting away, but a number of Pajamas Russ are really low. They just can't quite get the killing blow in. Only Johanna is alive. This is going to end the game. They are a little low, but I don't think it's going to matter. Yeah, they're going straight for core. They'll burn through one of these keeps, probably this middle one that barely has any life left. It'll take Sonya about 2 seconds to burn through this. This is absolutely going to be the game. Pajamas Russ played really, really well, made very, very few mistakes, and really controlled this game from just about midway through the game. Hey, Jova, how are you doing, buddy? So a win here for Pajamas Russ. They increased their record now to 7-4, and Suicide Squad falls to 4-3, and unfortunately takes their third loss in a row. Nice game, fellas. Nice game, fellas. Pajamas Russ, in particular, played really, really well. They really controlled that game from about level 9 on. And if you look at the deaths, that'll show you right there. 19 kills for Pajamas Russ, only 5 for Suicide Squad. They just were never able to get on good footing. And one of the things that Pajamas Russ did so well was when those team fights were really going in their favor, they did not let Suicide Squad disengage. There were probably 3 or 4 gusting. They were retreating Suicide Squad team back into the fight, and they probably got, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 extra kills from those gusts. They did not let Suicide Squad run away once the engagement went bad. They pursued them, they finished the kills, and really took control of the game even more than that. I mean, Tychus and Li Ming were top 2 in damage, so they were doing the damage, but they weren't able to dive on Medic. Medic never died that entire game. They were never able to get back to her, and when an engagement went poorly, they were unable to disengage and get away. Shrimpy on Falstad ensured that anytime they broke and tried to disengage, he was there with a gust to make sure it was a team wipe or pretty close to it. Excellent game, guys. Sorry if my casting was a little bit rusty. It's been a few weeks, so happy to get out here and happy to cast some of my Division 1 counterparts. Look forward to seeing you guys next week, next season. And let me switch to here. So good win for Pajamas Russ. Really controlled that game for most. Very few mistakes. Really clean, well-played game. They are now 7-4 and hopefully on their way to some postseason play in Division 1. Suicide Squad struggled a little bit there. Made some nice plays, but wasn't quite able to get themselves back in the game once they fell behind. They now fall to 4-3. Hey, thanks, Half and Half. I'm glad you worked out your technical difficulties and can get back in the game. I look forward to playing you guys again soon. So I hope everybody has a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend, and we will see you in the Nexus. Have a nice night.